Blackbeard has been in the game for almost 10 years now, and at the beginning of year 9, they teased that Blackbeard was finally going to get a rework. And that rework finally came in Operation Collision Point. Blackbeard has a completely new gadget now, with a slight loadout change as well. So you as a newer player, or a returning player potentially, want to know what is new about Blackbeard and why he was the most banned attacker at SI. Hey, post-editing creator here. So apparently Blackbeard was actually the second most banned attacker during SI, which is still, like, incredible. Like that's insane, but when I mention SI and I say he was the first, I actually mean the second, so just pretend I'm saying second. Sorry. Blackbeard's new primary gadget is the whole adaptable shield. By looking at the shield itself, you can tell it's way bigger than Monty's and Blitz. But it does have the same mechanics as Monty and Blitz's shield, with one exception. Blackbeard has a glass panel on top of his shield, so it kind of makes like a full shield, obviously, like Monty. And when you're not ADS, it stays up, but when you go to ADS, it exposes Blackbeard's head, and then you can start shooting your gun and everything. And, you know, the defenders can obviously headshot Blackbeard. However, that is the only difference between Blackbeard and every other shield in the game, because they share the same mechanics. So with this barricade here, I can just hop on through it like it's nothing. And like every other shield, while I'm running, I keep my shield up. And just like the other shields, he can throw gadgets from behind his shield, so like these frag grenades here, I can just throw them from behind the shield and be completely covered. However, when he throws a drone, he does put his shield away, and obviously when you get on the drone, he puts his shield on his back. And unlike Monty, it's not really extended fully, so it's not going to cover you as much from your back. Blackbeard also has the same suppress fire mechanic as every other shield in the game, so after 5 bullets from an AR, SMG, LMG, anything like that, or 1 shot from a shotgun, he can no longer sprint. You know you've been suppress fired once your screen starts to darken a little bit and you see an icon on the bottom left. The longer they shoot at you, the longer the suppress fire will go on. And as a reminder, shotguns can do this in 1 shot. If you go up to melee a defender, all it will do is just knock them down and do no damage to them. However, it's not fun getting repeatedly knocked down. However, Blackbeard has his own unique mechanics compared to the other shields, because his primary gadget is the ability to run through any soft wall or barricades. And Blackbeard doesn't really dash all that far either. So if you do want to breach a wall here, like I'm just going to use Bakery Wall here as an example, you have to pretty much be right up on it, and as you can see, the cooldown on the gadget is not really long either. So just go up to it and breach on through it. And unlike the other shield operators, Blackbeard can literally just vault through a castle barricade. Apparently there's a few people that don't know this, and yeah, he can literally go up to a castle barricade, click his vault prompt, and literally just hop through it like it's a regular barricade. Also, Blackbeard keeps his shield up when he's on rappel, allowing him to take gunfights on windows or just simply vault through the windows themselves. Now, you may think since Blackbeard is ultimately a shield operator that you have to play more passive with him, and yeah, that is true, you can do that. However, a lot more people at higher ranks do play aggressive with him because of all the things I've listed about his shield and be able to just dash through pretty much anything, and having a fully automatic assault rifle as a secondary, which we're going to talk about that in a minute. People play just more aggressive with him. But that doesn't mean you should solo push the entire time, because a Blackbeard or even a shield by themselves in general is pretty much just one big target for the defenders. Because once they see a Blackbeard is all by themselves with no help, then they're going to send 2 defenders after you and you're pretty much just dead already. And there is a lot of counters that you need to be aware of. A defender can just go up to Blackbeard, melee his shield and exposing his body, leaving him vulnerable. Blackbeard can't do anything while he's being meleeed. He can't run away, he can't ADS, so all you have to do is just pretty much hope that they mess up the timing on the melees so you can melee them back. And a common counter is traps like Legion or Capcan. Legion being the best because once Blackbeard steps into a goo mine, he has to pull it out or he's going to take damage until he dies, and when he does go to pull it out, then he leaves himself exposed to get shot. However, surprisingly, the best counter against Blackbeard is Clash, because once she zaps him, he puts away his shield as if he's being meleeed. This is why I say you shouldn't be alone as Blackbeard all the time, because stuff like this can happen to you and you can really hurt your team. He is best played with a team that knows what they're doing, having someone run for him and playing as an entry role. And what he's really good at is taking map control and adding pressure to the defenders. Because Blackbeard with his gadget is one of those operators that if you ignore him for too long, he can do a lot of damage to your team. And like I mentioned before, Blackbeard also has nades as well, so he can either clear out areas or destroy utility as well. Now I think it's about time we talk about his secondary weapons, because they're not really secondary weapons. Now obviously Blackbeard's primary weapon is the shield itself, but his secondary weapons are a primary AR and a primary DMR. Which is a first for any operator in the game to have a fully automatic assault rifle as a secondary weapon, but it kind of makes sense for Blackbeard. However, with his assault rifle and his DMR, they can both equip ACOGs because they are primary options technically still. However, with the ACOG equipped and no laser sight, they have a painfully slow ADS speed like this. In most gunfights, you're going to get headshotted instantly. So that's why for his Scar H, I 100% recommend you run the iron sights and the laser sights, because his iron sights are actually pretty good, and the iron sights and the laser sight both give you a 10% ADS increase for each of them, so you actually have a pretty good ADS speed, all things considered, for a shield. Now with both his DMR and Scar, when he goes to reload, he actually puts away his shield to his left. Unlike Blitz or Monte or even Fuse's shield, where they reload with the shield in front of them, Blackbeard does expose himself, so I 100% recommend you run the angled grip for a faster reload speed. Now for the Scar H, I recommend for the attachments you should run is the laser sights, iron sights, angled grip, and some people still run the flash hider on Blackbeard, but his Scar H doesn't really have that much recoil, even though he's a shield now. And with the extended barrel, you do 49 damage, and the more damage does make up for the slower fire rate that the Scar H does have. Now, at the beginning of the season, they did buff it to give him more damage in a higher magazine size. It is now 26 as opposed to 21. So I would recommend running the extended barrel, but if you can't control the recoil, then just go ahead and run a flash hider. And I'm just going to be honest, running the DMR on Blackbeard is a terrible choice, considering the fact you're a shield with a fully automatic assault rifle. I mean, the DMR is not terrible, but I don't see why you would ever run this over the Scar. And that's realistically everything you need to know about Blackbeard. He's not a complicated operator by any means, yet he's so effective. The real main tips I can give for Blackbeard is the stuff I already said previously, like never try to push alone with Blackbeard all the time, and run iron sights and laser sights for a faster ADS speed, because your ADS speed without them are painfully slow. For my own personal opinion on Blackbeard is, if you are a new player and you're thinking about getting Blackbeard, I 100% recommend getting him, because he is, in all honesty, he's a little bit overpowered right now. And I'm going to sound like a broken record, but he's a shield with a fully automatic assault rifle. I mean, that alone is just nuts. And he is so good during the SI event, he had the highest ban rate out of any attacker in the entire game. And when this video goes live, it's going to be the first day of Operation Prep Phase, and they've already said that there's going to be no balance changes this season, so Blackbeard is likely not going to get any change until Siege X. Now I will honestly be shocked if he doesn't get any kind of nerf when that update comes out, which should be around Season 2, I believe. So for my final thoughts on Blackbeard, he's a great operator, and honestly, he's very fun to play. So if you are a newer player, I recommend picking him up, even though he might get a nerf or two within the coming months. But with all that said, that's the end of the video. I'm Cutter Tony, and if you do like what I make, I appreciate it if you subscribe. And with all that said, I hope you have a good day or good night, and goodbye.
Ficou, mina. Ah,
Ah, criança entendeu?